want to talk to you about Muslim neighbors. You see, there's a program being put on at Vanderbilt University, and it's called Muslim Neighbors, and it's all part of a process of advocacy of inclusion, because you see there's so much Islamophobia here in America, and this conference is to oppose Islamophobia. Now, they've introduced an idea, Muslim neighbor, which I think would be good to pursue, because you see Muslims do have many neighbors. And let's go back to the perfect Muslim, Muhammad, because he was a neighbor as well. He had neighbors in Mecca, but he caused so many arguments amongst his neighbors that they asked him to leave Mecca, and so he migrated from Mecca to Medina. He had new neighbors in Medina, and they were Jews, because the town was half Jewish. And how did their Muslim neighbors treat the Jews? Well, 3 years later, they were all dead, exiled, enslaved, tortured, and killed. So that's how Muhammad treated his Jewish neighbors. But he had more Jewish neighbors that lived about 100 miles away in a town called Khaybar. So he attacked the Jews of Khaybar, subjugated them, and they became dhimmis, D-H-I-M-M-I-S, and they got to live under their rules of Islam. They could practice their religion, but they also had to give half of their income, like sharecroppers, to Muhammad. So that's how Muhammad treated his Jewish neighbors. He had pagan neighbors, and he robbed their caravans, enslaved and captured, ransomed, and stole from the pagan neighbors. After he had crushed all of the opposition to Islam in Arabia, Muhammad had new neighbors now, and they were the Christians in Syria, north of Arabia. He attacked them, enslaved them, made them dhimmis, took their money, raped their women. So that's how he was as a neighbor to the Syrian Christians. Now, of course, today the Christian Syrians have another problem. Their Muslim neighbors, with the rise of Islamic State, are turning against them. I read where one Christian said, "We had been in this neighborhood forever. They ate at our house, we ate at their house. We thought that they were our friends." But you see, there's 12 verses in the Quran which state that a Muslim can be friendly with a kafir, but is never really their friend. And so the Christians living in Syria are finding that their Muslim neighbors are ratting them out to Islamic State. This happened in Iran as well. I knew Americans who lived in Iran when the Shah was in power, and they said they thought they had Muslim friends, Muslim neighbors. But when the Ayatollah came to power, all of a sudden they were shunned and avoided. So that's how a Muslim neighbor can work. Now here's the thing. You wonder, why would Christians put together a conference on Muslim neighbors and not bring up at the discussion the death, rape, and destruction of Christians who have Muslim neighbors? But you know that's not going to happen, because these Christians at these events all know that at dialogues, you never say anything which will offend a Muslim. So they will sit there quietly and probably won't even remember that their Christian brothers and sisters in Syria and Iraq also have Muslim neighbors who are enslaving them, torturing them, raping them, and killing them. So much for Muslim neighbors. Thank you.